Welcome back, guys, to the Money Tips channel. Today we're going to talk about the most ridiculously expensive things ever bought. You know what? Rich people buy a lot of dumb stuff, but hey, when you're loaded with cash, who cares about being rational? And when we talk about the most ridiculously expensive things, we're talking about things like solid gold toilets, diamond-encrusted vacuum cleaners, and even a personal submarine shaped like a killer whale. Yes, you heard that right. A killer whale submarine. So without wasting any time, let's dive in to check these things. On number 10, we have a dead shark for 12 million USD. At number 10 of our list of the most ridiculously expensive things ever bought, we have a dead shark in a tank full of formaldehyde. Can you believe that someone actually paid a whopping $12 million for this art piece? I mean, it's not like it was a huge shark or anything. Nope, just a regular old tiger shark, dead and preserved in a tank. And who was the lucky buyer, you ask? Well, that's a mystery because it was bought by some anonymous hedge fund manager back in 2005. Talk about having money to burn. It's almost like they're in a competition to see who can blow the most money on the most ridiculous thing. Number 9. Manuscript for $30 million. Coming in at number 9, we have an old notebook belonging to Leonardo da Vinci, known as the Codex Leicester. But this isn't just any old notebook, no sir. It's chock full of scientific musings, sketches, and even some of Leo's signature mirror writing. And who better to appreciate such a masterpiece than the king of geeks himself, Bill Gates. That's right, folks. He dropped over $30 million on this bad boy back in 1994. So if you've got a spare $30 million lying around, why not splurge on a notebook full of some of history's greatest scientific mustings? Who knows, maybe you'll stumble upon the next big idea for a bird-flapping flying machine. Number 8. Sculpture for $140 million. For number 8 on our list of the most ridiculously expensive things bought by the rich, we have a sculpture that is worth more than most countries' GDP. We're talking about Swiss sculptor Alberto Giacometti's Man Pointing. Or as we like to call it, the statue that costs more than your house, car, and entire wardrobe combined. Now, this sculpture was originally supposed to have 2 figures, but I guess the artist changed his mind and decided that one lonely guy pointing into the abyss was enough. Little did he know that decades later, hedge fund mogul Steve Cohen would throw down over $140 million just to have this solitary sculpture in his collection. I mean, we get it. Having a man point at something in your living room is pretty impressive. It's like having your own personal tour guide who doesn't talk back. But for $140 million, you could buy a whole island and have people point at things for you all day long. Or, you know, you could just use Google Maps like the rest of us. Number 7. Used underwear for $16,500. Did you know that some of the most expensive underwear ever sold belonged to none other than Queen Victoria herself? That's right, the royal undies were embroidered with her initials, and they are a real piece of history. But why were these undies so valuable? Well, apparently they were altered to fit the queen's shrinking stature in the last decade of her life, which makes them a rare find for royal enthusiasts. I mean, who wouldn't want to own a piece of underwear that belonged to the queen, right? And it seems that the royal knickers didn't come cheap. They sold for a little over $16,500, which is pretty steep for a pair of undies. But I guess that's just the price you pay for a piece of history. But let's be real, can you imagine spending that much money on a pair of used undies? I think I'll stick to the regular cotton briefs, thank you very much. Number 6. Kidney stone for $25,000. Number 6 on our list is out of this world. It turns out that even Trekkies have some deep pockets. When William Shatner decided to donate his kidney stone to raise money for charity, he probably never imagined it would fetch a whopping $25,000 from an online casino called GoldenPalace.com. And get this, they initially offered only $15,000 for it. But Shatner knew his worth, and the worth of the small hard deposits produced by his renal system. It held out for more. It just goes to show that when it comes to bizarre and expensive purchases, there's no limit to what people will pay for something unique and unusual. Number 5. Bunch of hairs for $115,000. Number 5 on our list of ridiculously expensive things sold goes to none other than Elvis Presley's hair. That's right, someone actually bought a lock of the king's hair for a whopping $115,000 in 2002. I mean, I love Elvis just as much as anyone else, but I can't fathom spending that much money on a hair souvenir. But wait, it gets even crazier. Just a few months later, the same auction house tried to sell more of Elvis's hair, but this time the authenticity was called into question. Apparently, the hair was refunded and then resold, causing some serious legal drama. The chairman of the auction house even got sentenced to 20 months in prison for this, and other issues. So we're not sure if the hair sold in November 2002 was the real deal or not, but at least whoever bought it can say they have Elvis's hair, right? Or maybe they should just start their own Elvis's hair museum and call it a day. Number 4. Dead Beetle for $89,000. Well folks, we've heard about expensive artwork, fancy cars, and even sold-out concerts. But have you ever heard of a Beetle that costs more than a brand new car? That's right, coming in at number 4, we have the world's most expensive Beetle. And no, we are not talking about a member of the Fab Four. This was a 3-inch stag beetle sold in Japan for a whopping $89,000. This massive beetle was said to be a black diamond with a 1 in 100 million size, making it extremely rare and valuable. It was so precious that a 36-year-old company president from a Tokyo insect specialty shop called Waku Waku Land couldn't resist shelling out the cash for it. And what made it so special, you ask? Well, its size, a whopping 9 centimeters, is what sets it apart from the rest of the beetle crowd. I mean, we all know that bigger is usually better, but is it worth almost $100,000? I guess it is if you're a beetle enthusiast with a lot of disposable income. Just imagine the envy of all the beetle-loving friends when you show off your very own black diamond beetle. It's sure to be the real talk of the town, or at least the insect community. Number 3. Old typewriter for $140,000. Number 3 on our list is about an expensive typewriter, and we're not talking about those fancy modern ones with built-in screens. No, we're talking about the good old-fashioned manual typewriter. Some of the earliest ones had letters hand-engraved into them, making them quite rare and valuable today. In fact, one such typewriter sold for over $140,000 back in 2019. But that's not even the most expensive one ever purchased. The honor of owning the most expensive typewriter goes to none other than Cormac McCarthy's light blue Olivetti Loretta 32. That's correct. In 2009, a writer's typewriter sold for more than $250,000. I mean, talk about taking your craft seriously. But who are we to judge? Maybe the sound of those clacking keys just really inspired McCarthy to write his award-winning novel. Or maybe he just really liked the color blue. Either way, that's one expensive way to put words on paper. Number 2. Coin for $18.9 million. Number 2 on our list of expensive things bought is a gold double eagle coin that managed to slip away from the US Mint in 1933 thanks to President Franklin's executive order requiring citizens to turn in their gold coins. The coin eventually landed in the hands of King Farouk of Egypt, who had a particular hobby of collecting antique aspirin bottles among other odd items. After a legal battle, the coin was sold at an auction in 2002 for $7.6 million, breaking records at the time. But in June 2021, the same coin was sold again for an astonishing $18.9 million, proving that some things only get better with age. It's like the coin was saying, "I'm not old, I'm just vintage." Number 1. Stamp for $8.3 million. Number 1 on our list of the most ridiculously expensive things ever bought is an 1856 stamp from British Guiana. It set 4 separate sales records over the years, with the most recent sale in June 2021 fetching a staggering $8.3 million. That's right, a piece of postage is worth more than most people's entire life savings. But this isn't just any stamp, oh no. It's the only surviving copy of the 1-cent magenta, a rare stamp created out of necessity when the local postmaster of British Guiana ran out of regular stamps. It's been a world traveler, played a role in a diplomatic tussle between France and Germany, and was once part of a collection of a famous stamp collector. So next time you're tempted to toss out that stack of stamps in your attic, you might want to think twice. That's all for today's video, guys. What thing do you find the most ridiculous? Tell us your views in the comments section. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. See you in the next video. Until then, best wishes.